So, welcome back, everyone, to another episode of our Business Launch show. And as you know, every week we introduce you to a successful entrepreneur to really inspire you with their story and how they built and grew their business. And every week you get priceless and very practical hints on how you can turn your ideas into enterprise. And today we're going to speak about leadership, because a lot of businesses are still really run based on outdated leadership principles, but we don't really need strict hierarchies any longer, because stiff business organizations prevent what we need most, which is innovation. And business leaders that steer their teams by really instructing people what to do and how to do things rather create frustration and a lot of stress. But that at times where we rather need enthusiasm and engagement to really tackle all the big challenges we are facing. Today we live in such a fast-paced world. Businesses really need to reinvent themselves and their business concept and products faster and faster. And this is why we believe that we need another leadership style today. And what we call it is intuitive leadership. And that is equally true for big corporates as for very small businesses, from my experience. And especially as entrepreneurs, we really need to be intuitive leaders, right? We need to pick up trends in our markets fast, and we need to be first to really fulfill new needs of our clients with new products faster and faster. We really need to nourish an enthusiastic and engaged team around us. We really want to build that type of, people around us that work with us on igniting our clients and partners and many others. And this is why I invited today my very dear friend, Terry Wildemann, the author of Enchanted Boardroom, because Terry knows all about how to really evolve from a traditional leader into an intuitive leader. That we really can take on today's challenges in our businesses, in our markets, and even beyond. So let me introduce you to Terry just very quickly. Terry has been an entrepreneur pretty much all her life. For example, she owned Image Plus Associates from 87 to 2004, quite many years. And she also owned the Winds of Change Leadership Center in Rhode Island from 2001 to 2009. And Terry, your companies really focus on professional development and on coaching for business leaders, entrepreneurs, and professionals. And I know you have an impressive range of clients, from the US military to financial institutions, chamber of commerce, colleges, universities, and many small businesses and entrepreneurs. So let's hear from Terry today now how you can become an unstoppable and stress-free, resilient, intuitive leader. Terry, you will share with us what made you successful as an entrepreneur and as a business leader, right? And I'm especially curious to hear your stories of failure. So without any further introduction, welcome, Terry. It's our honor and pleasure to have you with us today. Welcome.
Well, I am so excited to be here because when you and I connect, gangway people, it is going to be quite a show. So your introduction was just absolutely amazing, and I just want to thank you for that.
Great. It's great to have you on today, Terry. So let's dive into your story right away. Tell us, have you always been an entrepreneur? And if not, how did you catch this entrepreneurial bug?
Yes, I've always been an entrepreneur. And why do I say that? From the time I was a little child, I was always coming up with ideas on how to make money. We had a pair of parakeets. They were Pinky and Susie. One was green, one was blue. Okay, you would think it would be greeny and bluey or something like that. No, that's not the way it worked. And then we had a third one, a white one called Lollipop. And my idea was to bring these birds together. They were laying their eggs, and we would grow them and sell them to other folks. And of course, my father's like, "You're out of your mind." But that's from the time I was a little kid. I was always coming up with ideas of making money. Another time I was very young, and I had my wagon, and I would sell rides in my wagon for a penny or 2 cents. So it was just things I just did.
Right.
So here I am, all these years later as an entrepreneur.
So, in a way that I feel that we entrepreneurs, we have these kind of little entrepreneurial stories pretty early in our life, right? I mean, we seem to really sense of what people need and want. And, you say you made money, but as you and I know, even though business is about making money, but there's a lot of other factors that drive us in business, right?
Absolutely. It really is about the people. And one of the biggest challenges I think we have in business is we go into business to make money. And bottom line, that's what it's all about. We go into business to make money. However, the studies show that if you only focus on making money at the expense of the employees and the outside contractors and the people that you work with, it creates a culture that doesn't really feel good. It's a culture where you end up with a big rotation of employees, because who wants to be in an energy where everything is about the money, the money, the money, and the people are second? It doesn't work that way. At least now, more than ever, it truly doesn't work that way. And in my book, I talk about how when I wrote my very first book in 1998, I referred to a book called The Customer Comes Second. And the book was written by Hal Rosenbluth of Rosenbluth Travel. And one of the things that he mentioned was that anytime they opened up a new office, when they stepped away from their system of putting people first, the office did not do well. When they went in to figure out what was wrong, the discovery was how the employees felt. And the client and the company was put first instead of the employee. So they realigned it all, and then that office ended up being very successful. So it's that book, The Customer Comes Second, from Hal Rosenbluth, basically contributed to creating my waterfall effect model that is in my book, which is about, instead of putting the client at the top of the waterfall, and then the employees that are at the bottom of the waterfall need to struggle to get up to the client and the customer, you flip it. In this scenario where the employee has to reach the customer, water actually becomes dangerous. It drowns. It's drowning in negativity because they're struggling so hard to meet the needs of the client. They become salmon. If you think about it, salmon going upstream gets very tired. It gets eaten by bears. It's exhausted and it dies when it gets to the top. That's what happens in this money-focused, client-focused culture. But flip it and put the employees at the top and the client at the bottom, and you give that superior customer service to the client. To the employees. The employees then can very naturally, take care of the client and the customers, their internal customers, their coworkers, because that positive energy flows and bathes them in really good energy that creates success. Does that make sense?
Perfect metaphor, perfect concept. It's true. And I think at some point you need to make it easy that employees and clients are actually eventually at the same level, so they're meeting, right?
Yes, exactly.
I like what also Richard Branson is saying. What is a business, right? A business is simply a place where people get together and do something together, right? So beautiful. And you're addressing in your book, and I have it here and I read it, and I think it's really an amazing book. Everyone should read it. The Enchanted Boardroom, right? Evolve into an unstoppable intuitive leader. I just wonder, what is an intuitive leader?
Well,
how can we become one?
Leaders in the past have been very good at the practical, tactical, and logical. When you look at the leaders who really shine, who really engage their people, who really bring out the best in others because they focus on bringing out the best in themselves, what you find is that not only have they merged the practical, tactical, and logical, not only are they using those three, they have integrated it with the energetic, the emotional, the spiritual, and the physical. So it's this deep integration of all sides of oneself that allows you to tune in, tap, and turn on your mind, body, and spirit to get the messages that are necessary to move forward or to move backwards as necessary. It is about really tuning into the body, tuning into that deep intuition. And the intuition, it's different for everybody. Some people hear words, some people see images, other people just feel things, other people just know things. And these are leaders who find that when they go against that and they don't listen to it, they fail. So when that happens enough times, you open up to those messages. But what happens is we get fearful of sharing that information with others because they think that, ooh, this is too woo-woo. This is, but we're born with these intuitive gifts. And it's about stepping away from this. People who are so practical, tactical, and logical, they're so fearful of going to anything different. You need to get away from that and bring it all together in a way that is cohesive, congruent, creates confidence, competence, and credibility.
Absolutely beautiful. And, as speakers, we love quotes, right? So there's this beautiful quote also from Einstein, who is saying, the intuitive mind is a precious gift, and the rational mind is faithful servant.
Yes, I love that quote.
In a society where we honor the servant, but have forgotten the gift.
Yes.
We know that, especially we as entrepreneurs, it is a collection and a combination between, as you call it, the intellectual mind and also intuitive mind and, emotional mind and gut feeling that helps us make the best decisions, right?
Yes.
So I don't think on our call today, we don't need to talk a lot about the intellectual mind, because I think that is what our education, effort is focusing on.
That's right.
Let's go a little bit deeper into, into the intuitive mind and also into the spiritual mind, because as you say, a lot of people say this is pretty rural. So, can you give us a couple, maybe just one example in business, in your life, because you've been an entrepreneur all your life.
Yes, I have.
Where you really chose to go for your intuitive mind, and that was exactly the right thing to do. So, because again, a lot of people feel like talking about spirituality and intuition in business is a little bit untangible.
Yes.
But I actually feel it is not at all, right? It helps us to make hard fact decisions. It gets us really to have, to get hard fact results.
Right.
Can you give an example from your own story of where your spiritual mind and your intuitive mind really came together and helped you to move your business forward?
Well, I'm going to give you an example that just happened yesterday. That fresh. I'm making a change with some outside contractors that I have. And it was a mutual separation of one outside contractor, and this other outside contractor is going to be working with me. Ironically, this person, because of their situation, which surprised me, does not have a computer. They've been working with their iPad. But to work with certain software that I have, they have to use a computer. And I thought to myself, ooh, I need to get them a computer. I'm not really sure how I'm going to do this, and if I even want to do this. So I just put it out there. I just said, I'm allowing this to fall into place. I'm allowing all the parts of the puzzle to land as they need to. And I stopped overthinking, because a lot of us, especially those who are perfectionists, you and I know all about that, we tend to overthink things. And the goal with this, and this is practicing magnetic business attraction, which I talk about, which is another word for practical law of attraction. In magnetic business attraction, we put our burning desire out there. And for me, the burning desire was helping this new contractor with computer. The next step was imagining the ideal laptop falling into my place, into my lap. And then it was just letting it go and letting it all happen. Last night, I ended up on the computer and I went to a office shop. It was Cyber Monday. And I went to an office store, and I'm going through, and on a fluke, it was one of those, whoa, laptops. And I found this laptop that was $200 off. And then on top of it, when I looked on the left, I've spent so much money in this place, I had a $250 gift certificate. I ended up buying a laptop for $19. And it's that simple. It really is that simple and that easy. So that's a day-to-day example of how to work with intuition and magnetic business attraction, because I intuitively knew it would all fall into place. I intuitively knew it had to end with that outside contractor. I also intuitively knew that it was time for this other person for me to be working with them. We've been talking about it for a long time. Now, this is where you use your, I'd like to share with you another example. May I?
Of course, sure.
Okay. I owned my leadership center for a long time, from 2001 to 2009. I opened it September 1st. I signed the lease September 1st of 2001. 10 days later, 9/11 happened. The weekend, it happened on a Tuesday. I am scheduled to fly out to the HeartMath Institute to get certified in stress management that Friday. I knew intuitively, my body was screaming that I had to get on that airplane. And of course, my family's going ballistic. You know, what happens? Da, 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 da. And what I kept telling them, because even though I've been an entrepreneur my whole life, my background is in law enforcement in my early 20s. So I knew intuitively that the skies would be so safe at that point that there would be no problem. And my husband felt the same way. And I knew I had to get there. So I just followed my gut. I got on the airplane. I ended up somewhere in Texas. The flights were diverted. I eventually got there, and they kept saying, "You're never going to find a car. You're never going to find a car." The plane was diverted to, I think it was San Francisco instead of the San Jose airport. And I just said, "Take care of me. Take care of me." Sure enough, there was a car. I drove right to where I was getting certified, and out of 15 people, only 2 of us made it. And I got there from the East Coast, and I had to be there. I followed my guidance. I followed my intuition to become certified as a HeartMath coach. And the reason I'm sharing that specific piece is because I listened to how my body felt. It felt, I could have listened to my practical mind, the practical, logical, tactical, and logical, saying, no, don't go. Allow the fear. With fear stands for forgetting everything is all right. But instead, I went with how I felt. And I knew it was time for me to go. Now I'm going to go to the end of the cycle of the Leadership Center when I closed it. For 3 months, I had a migraine every single day. The economy was going nuts. I had a huge overhead with the center that I ran. And I was in Pennsylvania at my sister's home, and I woke up, with another migraine. When you look at the word migraine, it's migraine. What is going against your grain? And I had been fighting closing the center because it was an ego thing. When I woke up that day, I said, enough. I can't take this. And on September 1st of 2009, I officially closed the center. And miraculously, the migraines went away.
Beautiful examples, and it's so true. Our intuitive mind helps us make decisions. It helps us get started, but it also helps us to understand when to go for something and when to let go of something.
Exactly.
So it's beautiful examples, and it's really our intuitive mind is guiding us in so many ways.
Yes.
And we choose to act against it.
Yes, and how many of us have gone against our intuition and lived to regret it?
So many times, including myself. I remember that in my career, once I took a job where my whole body was screaming, don't take it, it's not a right place, it's not the right time, it's not the right boss, it's not the right job. And I took it out of fear.
Yes.
And I suffered for 4 years from that.
4 years.
4 years,
Wow.
and I didn't take the courage to step out of fear. But it was at that time that I suffered so much, I realized I have to trust my intuition more.
Yes.
Right? And, and also it is these failures that we learn from most.
Yes, it really is.
And when we met previously and you told me about your failure stories, I was pretty touched and impressed. And I know that there were two major failures in your business, your career,
yes,
that you learned a lot from. Why don't you share them with our community today, Terry?
Well, the very first one, which was very devastating for me, actually, was, as I mentioned, my degree is in, I was in law enforcement. My degree is in criminal justice, and it was something that I really wanted to do. From the age of my teens, I wanted to be an FBI agent, and I did everything possible to get to that role and to get there, and I did. I was a new agent at the FBI Academy, and I failed my very last exam 2 weeks before graduation. I was the top female athlete at that time. This was a while ago, a long while ago. And I was the top female athlete. Right? And it took a long time to recover from that. And I mean years. There are components of that even to today, I think it probably cleared most of it out, but it took a really long time to clear it out because I failed my last exam for a reason. I put my family first. And there's a pattern of continuously putting my family first throughout my career, throughout my entire life. My family always, always came first. And there was a huge family event the weekend before. My exam was on a Monday. The weekend before was a huge family event that I had to attend. There was just no way that I could not go to this event. And I did. And to make a long story short, I did fail that exam. And it was an exam where it was white-collar crime, which I was petrified of. I was so scared of being stuck on a white-collar crime team. And it just was too much. And anyway, so that was devastating because my goals were so clear. My goals, that was my goal, to become an FBI agent. And I did, and I failed. So what was the failure there, and what was the learning there? And that learning really has expanded over almost 4 decades. And the second one was the Leadership Center that I described. And did I look at it as a failure? And when you look at both of them, they weren't failures. You know, we call them failures, but they weren't. They were learning opportunities. When you fail, it's not about the failure itself. It's your behavior in response to the event that allows you to either rise or to curl up and just hide. And there were times I wanted to do that. I'm not going to kid you. I really wanted to do that. However, I've learned so much from those two experiences that it allows me to share a lot about leadership today. Was I meant to be an FBI agent? No, I wasn't. Why? Because when I look back, I look at my relationship with my husband. I look at the kids that I have. My life would not be as it is right now. And it's just too important because I'm meant to be doing exactly what I'm doing sitting here with you.
Absolutely. Beautiful. Beautiful. And I like how you're saying it's always when things don't go as expected, we call them failure.
Mm-hmm.
We see them for what they are, right? Mm.
There's always opportunity there. There's always opportunity. There's different ways of looking at it. There's always contrast and the flip side, which is positivity. So there's negativity and positivity in absolutely everything. And it depends on which side of the coin we want to live on or live in.
Right. And in your book, The Enchanted Boardroom, I really love the sound of it. You also have one chapter
Yes.
that you call contagious enthusiasm.
Yeah.
And I really love the sound of that itself already.
Contagious enthusiasm, yes.
So, what is contagious enthusiasm? And how can we
Contagious enthusiasm.
use it as entrepreneurs in our business on a daily basis?
Contagious enthusiasm, catch it and pass it on. It's about the energy of leadership. It's about the energy of business. It's about the energy of positivity. And it's about the energy of opportunity and the energy of being able to look at things from a 360 perspective. When you are enthusiastic, when you're excited about something, and you are wrapped with just the right team around you, your enthusiasm becomes infectious. It truly helps other folks to lift themselves up and also look at what's working and what's not working. Powerful teams that are enthusiastic, they are enthusiastic because the leaders allow them to tap into their talents, allow them to make mistakes, which allows people to grow. The best learning on the planet is from mistakes. If we didn't make mistakes, life would be very boring. So I encourage people to make mistakes, because as an enthusiastic, intuitive leader, when you encourage people to make mistakes, you can tell I'm getting all enthusiastic here talking about this. When you allow people to make mistakes, they're taking action. They're taking inspired action. And some of the most amazing inventions in our world came from people making mistakes. It's a good thing, because when you look at the mistake, you can then make it better and better and better, because my philosophy is the mistake was meant to happen for a reason.
So if you want to bring ourselves into this space where we feel contagiously enthusiastic, we should go out and make mistakes, right? So what else can we do to bring ourselves into that space?
Well, it's about being fearless. It's about being courageous. It's about putting yourself out there. And a lot of us instead allow the fear to control us, instead of allowing ourselves to work through the fear. Just walk right through it and say, okay, what happens, happens. And believe me, I've been in, that fear place is something that has dogged me, even writing this book. Okay, even writing my book. There were certain chapters that I was writing about that brought me to my knees, because I was breaking out of my shell. And when we break out of our shells, we can then go to that contagious enthusiasm place, because we can share the best of ourselves. And people want to hear that. They want to see it. They want the best. Most people want to help you and encourage you and be the best that you can be. And that's what good leaders do.
That is so, so true. I all the entrepreneurs I work with, when we get them to a place where they are courageous, they are starting to go out, they're starting to connect, they're starting to talk about the difference they want to make. They always say, Monique, I find it so amazing how much support I get.
Yes.
Okay. It's so funny. Why do we expect the opposite? Instead of having faith, instead of being guided by fear and limitations.
I think a lot of it has to do with our youth. I mean, let's take a good look at our younger years. We get made fun of if you're different. We try to fit in. These kinds of things. So when we try to fit in somebody else's world to be like them, we lose a part of ourselves. And as kids, teenagers in our 20s, we're really in this balancing act of trying to find ourselves, who we are. But there's also a deep need to be accepted by others. And as we get older, it gets easier to shed that mantle of needing to be accepted by others, because frankly, if you lose yourself to be like other people, then you're moving backwards instead of forward, using your gifts and talents that you came to this world to use. So, but it takes experience. It takes episodes. It takes events to teach us these things. I'm
Right.
not convinced we're born with it. Well, let me rephrase that. I'm convinced we're born with our talents, but that need to be accepted and included is a deep part of our psyche.
Yeah, it's so true. And that is what you do with your work, working with leaders to really understand that they need to step into their own strength, into their own power, independent of
Yeah,
what other people think, right?
exactly.
And
Exactly.
they say there's this 18-40-60 rule in life, right? At
Yes.
18, we think like, oh my God, we care so much about what our friends think. At 40, we don't care so much anymore
Yeah.
what others think about us. And at the age of 60, we realize no one actually cared about us. Everyone was
That's
so
right.
busy with themselves, right?
Well, that's exactly right. And this is where the topic of boundaries comes in, Monique.
Mm.
And I like to bring this in where stress management is concerned, because, stress management for me is very important. The biggest lessons that I've learned throughout the years is when we are, especially since we're in a go, 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 have to, do society, we put ourselves in the business of pleasing everybody else at our expense. And when we learn to keep our boundaries tight and listen to our intuition that says, this doesn't feel good, we go to a place where we honor ourselves, and we can go to that place of deep self-care so that we can be there for other people. My biggest burnouts, and I burned out multiple times, and it was because I was always doing the go, 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 do, have to type hamster wheel thing. And as a leader, when you burn out like that and you're going, what example are you really setting for people? And it took me a long time and multiple burnouts to get that through my thick skull, that it was important to listen to those intuitive pieces that keep coming in. Those intuitive places, by the way, are your body. If your body's continuously getting sick, what are you not listening to? Because the body responds to stress, and different parts of the body is giving you signals, information. And I'm a businesswoman who became a holistic practitioner so that I could heal myself. And those are a lot of the tools that are in my book. Okay. And the second book is going to have even more tools to help people with that. But, we, from a stress place, those boundaries need to be tight. But in my book, I said they're tightly flexible because it's also about using your intuition, when to let go of those boundaries and when to reel them back in again, so that you are in a safe place so that you can shine. You can sparkle. We were talking about the word sparkle. You can sparkle when you're not expended, when you're not exhausted, when you're not giving so much to everybody else. And I don't know about you, but I've had my share of giving, and then being let down.
Right. It happens to us again and again. It's life.
It
But
does.
you spoke about, being balanced, not being stressed out, and so on. Why don't we give as a special gift to everyone that watches us today, your special quick shift technique? Because I know it's a very powerful technique to make sure that
Yes.
we are staying balanced and we are not getting stressed out. What is this
Right.
quick shift technique? Just share it with everyone.
Well, it's called Quick Shift, the Quick Shift Zone. And this card here, I don't know if you can really see it with the lighting. This is my bookmark, actually. In the front is my book with my picture, my contact info. But on the back, and by the way, this is a nice marketing tool, folks, for when you have a picture or when you have a something that you want to share. In the back here are the steps.
Can you hold it a little bit closer so
I
people
don't know
can
if you can see it. There we go.
Yeah, great.
These are the steps of the Quick Shift Zone.
Mm-hmm.
And I can walk you through it very quickly if you choose. And you can go to my website, intuitiveleadership.com, and enter your name and address, an email address, and you will have immediate download to the Quick Shift Zone. And you can do it for yourself. And it's 4 very basic steps where you combine the brain and the head with the brain and the heart. The heart itself is actually a brain. It has many of the same hormones, or actually releases a lot of the same hormones that the brain does. And research has shown that the brain or the heart can actually send more messages to the brain than the brain to the heart. And when you are grounded And when you are living from the body, from this area here, the electromagnetic field from the heart can actually be measured 6 to 10 feet away from the body in a 360-degree circumference. And the electromagnetic field of the brain is only 2 feet. So, would you like me to take you through this?
Absolutely, go ahead.
Okay. So, the very first step is to shift. When you are stressed out, say, I'm going to use the example of the new contractor that I brought on. I got stressed out that this person didn't have a computer. Instead, has been working with a tablet very successfully, but to be able to work with my software, they need a computer. And I went into a stress zone. And I was like, why am I getting stressed out over this? So the first step is to shift. I shifted out of here, and you shift attention to the heart area, the chest area. Okay. Step number 2 is to use your hand as an air pump and put it on your chest area. And you breathe in through your hand into your chest and out of your chest through your hand, shifting the energy to this, helping you to shift the energy to this part of your body. And just keep breathing in and out from here. And with each breath, I encourage folks, and it's not on the card, but I encourage folks to release their body to the chair. Allow the chair to do what it was meant to do, support you. So just let go completely. And with each breath, just relax even more. And step 3 is to focus on something you care about with appreciation and gratitude. Yesterday, I was focusing on, we just had Thanksgiving, and we have 2 new little I want to say grandbabies. They're not my grandbabies. They're my great nieces. They're under 10 months, the 2 of them together, and we had so much fun. And I just focused on that love and the playfulness and the innocence of babies and how much fun we had. And that's what I focused on. So when you focus on something that you love, it's about making it real, colorful, hearing the sounds, seeing the images, feeling the emotions surrounding that. And the science behind that is that you are raising your DHEA levels and decreasing your cortisol levels. So just do that for a few seconds. As you're breathing in and out of your air pump, which is your hand, into your chest. And lastly, just relax. Relax and let go as you shift it to calm and ease with each breath. And that is the quick shift zone. Very simple, very, very easy.
Beautiful, beautiful.
And you can do this. The more you keep practicing this and practicing it and practicing it, you think it's so simple. It is simple, but it's one of the most powerful techniques that you can use because you are literally recalibrating your body. Mm. When you recalibrate your body out of that stress zone into calm and ease, you can shift perspective and see things from a very different place.
Right. Oh my God, Terry, we covered so many elements of what it means to be an intuitive leader in such a short period of time, and you gave us even a very hands-off technique to let go of stress, yes, to quiet down, in moments of challenge. Very, very powerful technique.
Thank
so
you.
Let's start running off our conversation and our exchange. What would you say now in summary, or what would you think that everyone that's been watching us today that say, I really need to become more intuitive as a leader? What would be the first step you encourage them to take to get into that direction?
The first thing is, frankly, when you become challenged, is to use the quick shift zone. Okay, this card, that's the very first thing. Because what that does is it allows you to go deeply into that intuitive place. In the book, there are a couple intuitive techniques that I teach. The sway test was one of them. This is a second one, and there's a few others. And when you get past the stress part of it, and you also bringing your boundaries. And the boundaries are about bringing your energy back in again so that you can listen. When we are out of bounds, we're just all over the place. We're chaotic. So we're not able to really listen in a very powerful place, from a very powerful perspective. The next thing is, once you have brought your boundaries back in again and you've done the quick shift, is to truly listen. Listen to what the people are saying to you. You can actually use the quick shift technique and shift into your heart area to assist you in listening to the words, the body language, and what the other person is actually saying. And listen to it from a very neutral place. From a leadership perspective, it's about recognizing that not everyone is in your tribe. Attract your tribe by being who you are meant to be instead of what everybody else wants you to be.
Right. So
and lastly, it's about failure. Failure is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's a wonderful thing, because the opportunities that open once you fail can be extraordinary.
Very true. And as we all know, we learn most from failure. So even embracing these principles, I'm sure it's going to make a big difference to you. But hey, some moments it might not go as expected. Don't see it as failure. Embrace it as a learning opportunity. Terry, it's been amazing and wonderful to have you on. So I'm sure that a lot of people here want to connect with you. So do you want to just tell everyone again, how do they connect with you best?
Yes, you can go to intuitiveleadership.com, which is my website. Or you can go to Facebook and just type in Terry Wildemann. That's TerryWildemann, and you can find me there. I have a fan page, and I have my personal profile page, and you can find me on LinkedIn at Terry Wildemann also.
Great. And we just had a wonderful time in Boston together. So, really reach out to Terry, connect with her, learn from her. There's so much she has to give and share. Terry, it's been wonderful to have you on. So thank you very much to you for being with us today. Thank you for everyone that's watching and, following us every single week. As you know, next week again, we have another amazing, inspiring, empowering interview. So I look forward to have everyone on. And for now, Terry, have a wonderful time. And, I really wish you all the success with your amazing book right now.
Thank you.
Just out very recently. And let's go forward and create many more intuitive leaders, entrepreneurs, and business leaders. Many thanks.
And thank you for the invitation to be here.
Great to have you.